If you're in your early 20s or late teens, I genuinely think learning how to do a trade is probably one of the best investments you can make in yourself for the future, and there's a few reasons for that. First of all, I want to talk about how cheap schooling is for the trades. I've been welding for 4 years now. I'm about to get my red seal, in fact, and my tuition costs less than a single semester does at probably tons of schools. My first foundations course was probably around $5,000. My next level after that was about $1,500, and then the third was around $1,000. I want you to keep in mind I also got $4,000 worth of grants from the government for learning these trades, and you'll get those periodically over the course of your apprenticeship. So my schooling was almost free over these 4 years. And it's not 4 years straight of schooling. In fact, that's another benefit I wanted to speak of for learning how to do a trade. It varies on each trade. For me, in total, I probably spent, of the 4 years, maybe a year and 2 to 4 months. So like 14 months of the 4 years was in school. The rest of that time I was either working or looking for a job. That extra time is so valuable for generating additional income, and it just gives you a big boost to your time in the market, because time in the market is one of the most important things for generating wealth. So that's time of school and how much it costs. Another big benefit is the job availability for working in the trades. I'm sure if you've been on the internet at all, you hear about AI nonstop and layoffs because AI are taking those jobs. And I understand it's far from being a major problem where it's like taking all these office worker jobs, but those very entry-level office jobs are 100% being replaced by AI in some way, shape, or form. And AI gets involved in the trades too. We have robotic welders at my workplace, and they're great, but they break a lot. So those AI is a long way from even coming close to replacing trades in a lot of ways. In some ways maybe, but I'm just speaking from my trade as a welder. It's far from taking a lot of the welder jobs. I live in Vancouver, BC, and there are endless listings for welding jobs, and you would not struggle to find a job. It might not be the best job. You got to start from somewhere, and you got to take what you can, especially at the start, because that's what I did. I wouldn't consider my first job very good compared to the one I have right now. I'm very happy with where I'm at now, but it also took me 4 years to get to. But it's a big worry of new graduates going through the college or university system. They spend all this time and they spend all this money, and they leave school and then nobody wants to hire them. And I think that's a real slap in the face for how much work and effort those people put in. And it's an unfortunate circumstance, but that's one of the reasons I'm so grateful that I learned a trade, because that never happened to me. I never struggled to find a job. I did wait a little bit. I took an extra time to find ones I actually wanted, but if I needed to get a job in a week, I would 100% be able to do that now, especially now that I'm a journey person and I'll be getting my red seal within the next few weeks. And now for the remainder of my career as a welder, I'm not going to ever struggle for work. And for some people, stability like that is super important and is a big determining factor for if they want to pursue that career or not. So if you've ever been thinking about going to university or college and you've had those doubts about if you'll find employment or not when you're finished, I'd ask you to consider looking into the trades, because if you're anywhere in North America, that's for certain, I definitely don't see how you'll struggle to find employment. It's a little bit tougher right when you're new, because it's always the hardest when you don't have a whole lot of experience, right? but that's a whole nother video. So really consider that, because you have the price, it's super cheap. Like I said, for me it was almost free. It's probably more expensive in the States from what I've heard. I know trade schools can be expensive over there, and that is much more of an investment than it is maybe in Canada. But the time you're spending in school, it's nowhere. You're working through your training, and that is good because you can earn at the same time. You earn while you learn, right? And then the employment prospects, you're not going to have a hard time looking for work. So I really want these young people to consider doing this, because there's not a whole lot of negatives I see from going into the trades these days. You hear a common argument as, oh, you're destroying your body. It's not the 1800s anymore. Yes, obviously people get hurt on the job sites, but a lot of the time is from just not being safe as yourself. With all the PPE and safety rules you have in place, if you're not an idiot and you're not working around idiots, you're probably going to be fine. So I wanted to get that out of the way, because that's the biggest comeback people say when I tell them to join a trade, is they'll say, oh, it's not safe. But that's just not true these days. Sitting at a desk for 8 hours isn't good for your body either, but think about how many people do that, right? So think about that. I really would urge you to look into trades. If you're lost and confused as a very early 20s, late teens, as I was, which is completely normal, because that's the time when you're really trying to discover yourself. But I'm advocating for trades because I've taken that path, and I feel like it set me up for a great future. And I'll leave you on one thing. If you learn a trade and you end up not liking it, even if you do it for 1 year, you're going to learn the basics of a skill you'll probably use for the rest of your life, whether it be carpentry, like fixing things around the house, plumbing, knowing how to deal with all that stuff at your own house is invaluable. For me, for example, if I decide to stop welding someday, I'm never gonna forget how to do it. It'll be like riding a bike, and it can always be a career I can fall back onto if I ever do move along from it. And if I ever hit hard times, which hopefully doesn't happen, there'll always be that career choice or those jobs available to me to fall back on, side jobs to do for people. And also, yeah, back to what I was just saying, home improvements around the house, things like backyard projects, things like that. Those skills don't go away. And I'm sure that goes for the same for pretty much all the trades you could learn, except for like the niche ones. You're not gonna be a crane operator with a crane at your house. Like you guys get what I mean. But the common ones like carpentry, plumbing, especially those two, you'll be able to do stuff around your house, or people you know, do side jobs for them, and that's just extra money and skills you'll have for life, even if you decide to move on from it. So like I said, if you're young and you don't really know what career options you have ahead of you, I urge you to at least consider trades, because it'll set you up for a pretty promising future. And I think the positives much overshadow the negatives. Thanks.